Hey, what's up everyone? Today is February 17th, 2020, and I'm going to be talking about a few new reef kits that I'm trying out. So traditionally I've been using the Master Reef Kit from API, and I decided to try the Nyos for Nitrate. So here you have 2 vials of tank water, and you put 5 drops of the first reagent in 1 vial. Then you give it a little shake. And then after that's all done, you add the second reagent, which is a powder. That combo then has to be shaken for about a minute or so. And after that's done, you need to let it sit for about 5 minutes. The color chart is in ppm nitrate. It goes from 0, 1, 3, 5, 12, 25, 40, 65, 95, all the way up to 160. So here we have the 2 vials. The one on top is just tank water, and the one on the bottom has the 2 reagents. So the idea is that you slide the 2 up the chart until you find the closest match. So here on my test, my nitrates are between 1 and 3 ppm. Now typically my nitrates run from 5 to 10, but I've been doing some larger water changes recently to try to get ahead of my phosphate issue. What I like about this test kit is that you can actually see what your nitrate is if you're running below 5 ppm. That's compared to the API Master Reef Kit. It just goes from 0 to 5 ppm. I also got the Hanna Alkalinity Checker. So it comes with the little handheld colorimeter, as well as a few glass vials, a pipette to draw up your reagent, as well as the reagent itself. So here I'm just adding 10 milliliters of tank water into the glass vial. Then you press the button to turn it on. You add the plain vial of tank water into the handheld alkalinity checker, and then you press the button again to zero it. Next, you use your little pipette to draw up 1 milliliter of reagent. And then you add that into the glass vial with the tank water. After the reagent is added, you just give it a few little shakes and then add it back into the handheld checker. You close it, you press your button, and then within a few seconds you get your reading. In my case, the result was 10 DKH. So I alluded earlier that my tank is having some phosphate issues. Here we're looking at green hair algae sitting on top of my Michelangelo zoanthids. My API test kit was reading like 0 phosphates, and I knew that it had to be wrong because if I had 0 phosphates, I wouldn't have green hair algae in my tank. So I decided to purchase a Hanna Checkers ultra low reading Phosphurus colorimeter. And on that, I got a whopping 200 parts per billion phosphorus, which translates to about 0.613 ppm phosphates. The ultra low range phosphorus Hanna Checkers reader comes with the handheld colorimeter, the vial, and also a packet of reagent. So similar to the DKH test, you add 10 milliliters of tank water into the vial, and then you insert it into the handheld colorimeter. You press the button to zero it, and then once that's done, you go ahead and take the vial out and add a powder reagent. Now the powder reagent is a little bit of a pain to handle. You have to cut open the packet a very specific way, and you have to be very careful not to spill the contents. It's actually a little bit harder than it looks. After you add the powder, you have to shake it for about 2 minutes or so. And then after that, you insert it back into the Hanna Checker. Here I'm just wiping off the glass to make sure that none of my fingerprints interfere with the reading. So here I'm pressing the button, and that actually sets a timer for 3 minutes. And in about 3 minutes, I'll have my reading. So although my phosphate is still pretty high, it's an improvement from where I started. So moving forward, I'm going to keep working on lowering my phosphates with water changes. I also increase the amount of ChemiPure Blue I have in the back in one of my media baskets. I contemplated doing other things like Phosphate RX or GFO, but I decided just to stick with this strategy for now. Other things I'm working on, I have a little 4.5 gallon tank set up, so I'm not sure what I'm going to put in it yet. I'll make a video on that soon, and maybe you guys can give me some ideas. But right now it's just a blank slate, it's cycled, and it's ready to go. And in case anyone's wondering, yes, Ophelia and Homer are still having sexy time on my frog spawn. Every time I go to take this frog spawn out, they turn around and lay a new clutch of eggs. So they're still there. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. Thank you, and happy reefing.